Coming up on this edition of Celtics Weekly, Kristaps Porzingis returns to action. We have the top plays of the week, and we go courtside with Austin Ainge on March Madness. All that and more now. Welcome into Celtics Weekly, where we cover everything from the 18 banner-raising champs. What a show we have for you this week. Meghan Ottolini with NBC Sports Boston, Jrue Carter. We have Austin Ainge talking March Madness. A little later in the show, we have Chief Dork Officer Taylor Snow with his tailor-made stats.
Big promotion for Taylor there,
Big
CDO.
promotion. Yeah, he's in the C-suite now. But it was a very newsy week. So we're going to try a new segment here. We're going to rip through some headlines. Let's kick it off with the return of Kristaps Porzingis. KP was back in action against Brooklyn Saturday after missing 8 games prior with what he called a viral illness. He dropped 24 points and posted a block in his first game against the Nets. Guard Payton Pritchard made NBA history over the weekend, breaking Wayne Ellington's record for most threes made off the bench in a single NBA season with 218, passing Ellington's previous record of 217. He surpassed that record with his 4th three against the Nets Saturday, but had 22 points on 5 3-pointers in that game overall, so congrats, Payton Pritchard. And the Celtics officially punched their ticket to the playoffs Friday against the Heat, clinching a postseason appearance for the 11th straight season. Boston has now made the playoffs in 17 of their last 18 seasons. That's enough of me. Let's get to the plays of the week, all the highlights from your Boston Celtics. And where else can we start at number 10 but Payton Pritchard with his record-breaking 3. This is 218 against the Nets.
3-pointers off the bench. No one's ever hit more than Payton Pritchard. His sterling season continues. That's one check mark, getting the record. Maybe another check mark, getting the trophy. We'll see.
Yeah, number 9. We've got everybody getting a piece. A little hot potato here, but it ends with Jalen going left in a 2-hand slam.
The Celtics can bend the defense, stretch the defense in so many ways. Even the best defense in the NBA. When you end up with Chet Holmgren trying to defend Jaylen Brown, bad things will happen for your defense.
Number 8, Celtics able to escape the trap mid-court and find KP for a game-ending alley-oop.
Love Kristaps. I don't know what he has against the borough of Brooklyn, but man, he played well against the Nets in his return these last couple of games, which is really fun to see.
Number 7, JB in the paint. Again, Brooklyn trying to find any which way. He finds Nene down low for a slam.
That was saucy. When Jaylen Brown gets in the paint, he can get on 2 feet. He can kind of slow things down. He's never in a hurry. Use his strength, draw 2, find Cater for the easy stuff. That's good offense.
Number 6, Miami. We've got Logo Derek from deep, but watch what happens after he sinks this 3. Ian Horford. Find yourself a hype guy like Ian Horford. Can you be this guy for me?
Sure, yeah, and I'll get you water, I'll get you towels. And, you know, I just want to say something about that 3. It's late shot clock. Some NBA logos are so big that the logo 3 doesn't really mean anything anymore. That one does. He hit that from really far away.
Number 5, Chet trying to go one-on-one with Derek White. Derek White swats it right to Al Horford. Get out of here, Chet.
D. White, the most blocks by a guard in the last 10 years, and he only came into the league 8 years ago. He's got a knack for it, the timing, and obviously just taking the risk of getting dunked on. He does it.
Number 4, we got JB against OKC again. Pulls up a little short. Luke with the follow.
Yes, Luke. Shout out to the Australians. Luke Cornett has worked so hard to improve his athleticism. Even 1 or 2% takes you so far. He has really reshaped his game since he got into the NBA, and he's a huge contributor to the Celtics now.
Number 3, Miami again. We talked about Pritchard's 3-point shooting. We can talk about it all through the postseason. But look at this step through
Dipsy
for the 2. I love it. We got to get it in promo here.
That was so pretty. I mean, Payton Pritchard, it's like he's at the public park right there, just cooking dudes in the post. This is what you see from Pro MP. We talked about his 3-point shooting earlier, but he can get in the lane and score.
Number 2, this is from Tuesday night. Baylor Scheierman gets a shot at the buzzer beater, doesn't count, makes it. It's just a dress rehearsal because he gets another opportunity from Kristaps Porzingis here, and boom, that's money.
Ooh, and he didn't even bank it in this time. Didn't have to call bank. Load that thing up again. That's not a fireball. That's a Shire ball. Do 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 do.
Taking a shot. Number one, Kristaps Porzingis is back because Jason Tatum gets the rebound here, finds Porzingis down low, bam. Gotta be happy he's healthy.
This was after he missed 2 threes on this one possession. The Celtics doing a great job on the offensive glass, giving KP a chance to do that.
Those are your plays of the week. Let's go over to Tailor-Made Stats. Tailor-Made Stats is when we crunch some numbers with Taylor Snow of Celtics.com. So, Taylor, what numbers have you cooked up for us this week?
All right, Megan, I know you mentioned at the top of the show how Payton broke that NBA record, frees off the bench with his 218th. Well, he also helped set another NBA record right before that when he made his 215th. He joined Jason Tatum, Derek White to become the first trio of teammates in NBA history to make at least 215 threes apiece in the same season. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Jordan Poole, they held that record at 214 before this. And all three are on pace for over 260, so they're going to smash that record.
Okay, now, Taylor, a casual NBA fan, have a question for you.
Sure.
Everyone's shooting a bunch of threes, right? This isn't that impressive. It's all just three-point inflation, right? How do you respond to that?
Well, so they rank 4th, 5th, and 6th in the league in total three-point makes. No other team has more than one in the top 15.
Wow.
So
that's context, Meg. That's important.
Yep.
I love it, and I love those guys, but do you have some Jrue Holiday stats for us now that he's back in action?
Yes, so Jrue recently returned from that right mallet pinky injury, debuted a new celebration, the Dr. Evil pinky to the mouth celebration, and he had plenty of opportunities to use that celebration this past weekend. Had a great back-to-back. Friday in Miami, scored a season-high 25 points. Not only was it a season high, but that's the most he has had in a regular season game since joining the Celtics. Following night in Brooklyn, season-high 12 assists, ties the most that he has had since coming to the Celtics. And most impressive part is he's just returning from this injury. He has a splint on his shooting hand, and he's still found a way to make it work.
I know this isn't Social Snapshot, which we sometimes do over here at the Big Board. I would just love for anybody on social media to maybe put out a GIF of that celebration, you know, because I think that might be the mallet finger that he hurt, that he's celebrating with. So I would love a GIF of that, which is the right way that you pronounce that, I believe.
My ears hurt when you pronounce it incorrectly like that. I think it's fitting that he had the 12 assists against Brooklyn because, to me, one of the best Jay-Z songs is called Reminder. And he says, I think I need to give you a reminder, here it is. Sometimes Jrue Holiday just gives us a reminder of how good he really is. A lot of the time he'll fade into the background offensively as the 4th or 5th option in the starting lineup. But sometimes he just reminds you that this is a 2-time champion and a future Hall of Famer who's won a couple of gold medals, and he can really score and dish when he needs to.
Just a couple of gold medals. What do we have to round out here?
And then last night, we haven't seen a lot of Baylor Scheierman this season yet, but he gave us a glimpse of what he could do last night. Scored a season-high 20 points, made 6 three-pointers, 6 of 7 from 3. And that is tied for the second most by a Celtics rookie, 6. Smart, he held the record, or he still holds the record with 7. Name that stood out to me was J.R. Bremer on this list. J.R. Bremer held this record for 12 years with 6 threes.
Wow.
And you see Payton Pritchard has done it twice, and now Baylor.
Awesome night for Baylor Scheierman. Hopefully we get more moments like that down the stretch as these guys deeper on the bench get a little more opportunity with the playoffs on the horizon. Thanks, Taylor. Don't go anywhere, because after the break, we sit down with Austin Ainge to talk March Madness.
Tatum going to work, elbow jumper, yes sir!
That's in my spot. Rose up. It's crazy. I'm 6-time All-Star.
Deuce, Deuce, what up, baby?
I'm not a baby.
You a baby.
Let's get it, let's get it. Leaves it on top.
One of the most coveted times of our game, so I'm just enjoying the overall experience, just having a good time.
Welcome back. It's the most wonderful time of the year if you're a college basketball fan, so who better to talk to from a Celtics perspective than Assistant General Manager of the Celtics, Austin Ainge, and he joins us here courtside on Celtics Weekly. Austin, thank you so much for taking the time. And my first question is, it's Thursday, it's 12:15. The first round of March Madness is just getting kicked off. What is the scene like here around the Celtics?
So we take all of our scouts and front office that work all over the world normally, and we bring them all, and we have our meetings kind of right now, these few days before the tournament, about what we've seen, everything, and then boom, we all get in a room. We've all got our brackets. We do a bracket. We do a 10-man, which is the leading scorers for the tournament. So you got to pick the best players on the teams that'll go far. I mean, those are the two things we do, and we talk a bunch of trash and order some pizza and have some fun. So we do some serious meetings about all the prospects, and then we get to relax a little.
So how many people would you say are a part of this?
We're looking at 12 to 15.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're doing a bracket pool? I thought you were just scouting the games.
Oh no. We do. I mean, how many brackets have you been invited to? I mean,
a bajillion.
We've got, there's a lot. And so we have some with just basketball ops. We have some with the whole Celtics organization. Then we have other random little side action going on. It's fun.
Okay.
It's fun.
And you say there's some trash talking going on. Is there anyone that you want to name check here? Are you perhaps the top trash talker? Is there someone else in the building we should know about?
It's whoever's, making good picks is usually the one talking. So it changes year to year. And then it's always like, somebody's 10-year-old son that ends up winning. So all the experts in the room, and it's, whoever picked on colors wins.
When you are actually acting as a scout and the department, how much weight do these tournament games hold when you've been looking at these guys all year, if not years and years beforehand?
Yeah, so it's really boring kind of being a front office person, a scout. You try to take all your emotion out of it. Everything's in context. Everything's big picture. We try to eat Celtics games. Everything is just, we don't overreact. That's kind of what you're trained to do. You can't act emotionally. You have to trade a player, but you really like him as a person. You just have to become a robot. Mm-hmm. And so it's really kind of boring that way. But the NCAA tournament, we do allow ourselves to be fans a little bit as a group, and it's fun. And it's fun. But evaluating, I would say it's not a huge thing. The NCAA tournament is really random. Kind of weird matchups and crazy things happen. I would say the week before the conference tournaments, we all just went out and scouted. Those are really important. Those are more like NBA playoffs. Everyone knows your strengths and weaknesses. Everyone has scouted you, and can you still perform in that situation? Those are actually, I find them really, really helpful.
Think about a guy like Payton Pritchard, who's obviously a savage competitor, much like Brian Scalabrine, which we saw over the weekend in New York. Can you identify a lot about a player's personality just from watching them, or do you need to talk to them before you can figure that out? Like with Payton, did you know he's crazy before you even spoke to him?
Yeah, I'm sure Payton would appreciate this. My dad always called him a sociopath when we were talking about him. In a good way.
Term, yeah.
In a good way, a great way, right? A sicko. We knew Payton was an ultra competitor. You could just see it. But also a big part of our job is to talk to everyone around them, right? So we can't talk to the players until they declare for the draft. But their assistant coach, their video guy, the head team manager, the trainer, we talk to all these people, and they tell us their competitive makeup and their habits. And Payton has been intense and the hardest working guy since he was probably 15. Yeah.
Absolutely. Are there any other members of the current Celtics that you can recall moments from the tournament or your pre-scouting ahead of the tournament like you're describing, where there's like something where a mental note that you make and you see that later on as they're a member of the Celtics?
Well, Baylor, I remember his sophomore year at South Dakota State. They made the tournament, and he had a good tournament game. I remember watching him before that, but that was a big moment for him, in a small school. And he obviously transferred to Creighton and had more good moments in the tournament as well. But that was a fun one. I remember Jaylen Brown having a really tough tournament game, and us being kind of like happy about that because we liked Jaylen. And sometimes you want them to.
You already decided.
Yeah, I mean, well, we didn't decide for sure, but the guys you like, sometimes you're rooting against. You don't want them to. You don't want them to show too well, so they might slide you in the draft. We ended up having a high enough pick where it didn't matter, but you never know where you're going to end up.
Now, you mentioned Baylor. He's coming off his best game as a pro so far, 20 points. I got two on Baylor Scheierman, because the Ainge family is famous for like multi-sport athletes, right? Mm-hmm. So Baylor was a great high school quarterback.
Yep.
Did that play into you drafting him at all? And then two, how gratifying is it to see him score 20 points in an NBA game when you put so much faith in him?
Super happy for him. I mean, he worked so hard, and he had a tough preseason, and that kind of, I'm sure, was jarring for him. And then he's worked so hard. He's played great in the G League. Celtics had very limited opportunity with our team, understandably. And so you're just so happy to see the guys that work hard and get their moment. And that was a really fun moment for him, or moments. He had a lot of tough shots. That no dip three he made in the corner.
It was ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
It was like lefty
So cool.
Sam Hauser out there, just with some more tattoos. And then the quarterback thing.
Yeah, I mean,
like
look,
that?
it's fun, it's nice, it shows a little bit of athleticism, but it wasn't a huge factor.
Okay.
But it is cool. It is cool. I'm trying to think of other tournament moments. Jason Tatum had a kind of a rough start to his freshman year, and then got better and better as he got healthier, and he had a good conference tournament. They won, and then they lost, I think, in the second round to South Carolina. Ended up going to the Final Four. There was a good former Celtic PJ Dozier was on that team and beat them. But probably the best part of that game was Emile Jefferson, current Celtics assistant coach, outplayed Jason in that game. I think he had 15 rebounds, and he was great.
All right, Austin, thank you so much for taking the time. Such a great time of year, and looking forward to what you guys do this summer. But we have to turn our attention back to the current Celtics team for Inside Access. This week on Inside Access, we're getting some expertise outside of basketball from our Celtics team. The guys were asked what they're an expert on outside of basketball. Let's hear from them.
I'm the team expert. Let's say soccer there.
The NFL. I think it's like me and Derek know the most about the NFL, and Drew Peterson.
Not sure.
I would say being a dad, but Al has 5 kids. So, I mean, I have 3 of my own. So I'm in that category where, like, if you need some family advice.
I would say I'm the best on the team at ping pong.
I'm not sure about that.
Coffee, 100%. I think I'm the biggest, coffee enthusiast on the team.
No, I don't know. I don't really think I'm an expert in anything.
Some other things, but I'll keep that to myself.
Warrior mentality.
I'd say I'm the team expert on High School Musical, probably.
Don't care about the approval, but don't care about the criticism either. Just march to your own drum and get the job done.
I'm just a big High School Musical fan. It's probably my favorite movies growing up.
No excuses. We don't want to hear that. Come in and do your job.
I'm probably the team's expert on 2K and video games.
Team expert. Not much.
I am the team expert on dad jokes, and Luke Cornett is second.
The team expert on emotional availability.
Team expert on music, fashion, and hot sports takes.
What's the difference between a well-dressed man on a bicycle and a poorly dressed man on a tricycle? A tire.
Props to D. White on his timing with the dad joke. So I gotta ask you, I'll tell you what I would say if I were a team expert from our little team in the studio here. My expertise would be gas station junk food. It's not an expertise that I'm proud of, but it's one that I can say I have lifelong research about. And through trial and error, if you ever find yourself on a road trip and over at a gas station, I'll direct you in the right way.
Okay,
Just
thank
stay
you.
away from the hard-boiled eggs. I'll say that.
You can get those at a gas
Oh
station?
yeah, many gas stations for sure. So what's yours?
Well, good thing you're the expert here, because I was definitely going for the hard-boiled eggs. I'd say I'm the team expert on pretending to be busy walking around the garden during a game. When Abby Chin is calling the game, or Mike Tirico's calling the game, or one of the national networks, I find a way to pretend that I'm working, even when I might have a beverage in hand.
I was going to say, does this involve some props? Are you somebody who takes the fake phone call?
Yeah.
Are you just walking around with the AirPods in?
Just print out an old copy of my play-by-play charts and look at them and study as I'm walking around.
And they go, wow, he's always ready to go. In case of
he's
emergency,
yeah.
Drew is ready to go. Good for you. All right.
Keeping them fooled.
You know what? I know that you had a night off, but you have a big road trip coming up along with the rest of the Celtics. So let's get into future focus, where we preview this road trip, the longest of the Celtics season so far. Now, to be honest, they're not going to be seeing a ton of competition that you're expecting in the playoffs.
How dare you?
Starting here with Utah, Portland, Sacramento. Those are the first 3, and I know destinations that you're very much looking forward to, Drew. What do you think we could see from I guess, the lower end beyond the rotation that we're expecting in the playoffs from these Celtics?
Well, the first thing I'll say is I don't expect Tatum to miss a lot of these games, especially on the road. He's talked a lot about how when they go on the road, he wants to play because you got people in every city, regardless of where you are, what day of the week it is, what channel you're on. He wants people to be able to see him play because a lot of the time it could be their only chance for the season, especially when you go out west. So I think that's number one is I expect Tatum to play a lot. But in terms of guys like toward the end of the bench, this is a beautiful opportunity for them as the Celtics give guys rest, keep guys fresh, and fine-tune and experiment with their rotation. We saw what Baylor Scheierman did last night. Like, could it be a Scheierman game? Could it be a Cada game where he gets 25, 30 minutes? Could D. White get 20, 25 shots? We've seen what he can do with those. Obviously, Payton Pritchard. It's a chance for the Celtics to, the guys toward the end of the bench, to step up, to use our favorite term, get the team some wins down the stretch of the season. But really, the wins are not what's important. It seems like they're pretty much locked into the two. What's important is the development and giving guys different looks for the playoffs.
And the development and fine-tuning that you'll be doing with nicknames, puns.
Yeah.
Baylor, you got a couple others out there?
Now that Baylor is like a real rotation player, I can actually, we can dust off some stuff that I've been sitting on all year.
Okay, all right. You've been walking around the garden with these sheets of nicknames and puns,
just
excited to see them through these next
screaming
games.
It, yeah.
We heard from Kristaps Porzingis, who Kristaps and Jrue have both been able to get back, get healthy. Here's what he had to say about his expectations for this road trip.
You guys head out on a season-long 6-game trip. What does a successful trip look like?
For us, probably 6-0, no? I would say, for us. But we'll see. I mean, obviously we expect to win every game. I don't know, it was maybe, a handful of games this season again that we were not favorites. So I don't know what the betting odds will say, but probably, trying to win every game. And I don't know what our roster will also look like. That's another, question. But, 6-0, come back home would be perfect.
Okay, 6-0. Kristaps Porzingis, he's setting the bar there. He's not exactly dancing around the expectation.
6-0, no? I think that'd be perfect.
That'd be perfect.
They're going to be, they're favored at pretty much every game. They're expected to win every game. I think it's better to just put that out there and embrace it as opposed to the, I think contrived and fake, we don't know, like they're a good team and blah, blah, and the Celtics are still going to do that, but I actually appreciate the honesty from KP there. They know the expectation, and they knew it last year, and they cruised to a championship in the playoffs. So I appreciate that from KP.
I appreciate it, too. I'd say let's start with 3-0, and let's start with getting, this road trip underway. It's a long one.
That is very doable, though, for the record, I think, 6-0. The Spurs, they've lost Wemby and Fox for the season. Toward the end of the road trip, it could get a little bit tougher, but Phoenix is not playing great right now. So I think the Celtics could easily go 6-0 on this trip.
Okay, so you heard it from Jrue Carter, too. 6-0. Just echoing Kristaps Porzingis.
6-0, no? Come home. That would be perfect.
That would be perfect. All right. Hey, Jrue, thank you so much for joining us this season because I know you're departing on this road trip. I don't know when we're going to see you again.
Fired? I'm getting kicked off the show?
We see you on every game. We hear you on every game. I don't know when we'll see you on Celtics Weekly again, but we will see you next Wednesday.